Welcome to the Georgia First Show. I am your host, Ray McBary, and it is a huge political year all across the country, both national, state, and local politics. But you're tired of hearing about politics, so today we've got a special show for you, something that ought to be a lot of fun and something to get your mind off all that political stuff. We're going to do something we've never done before right here on the Georgia First Show. We're going to talk to an author today, but more than an author, she is a chef extraordinaire. Joining me here in the studio is Chef Sonja Jones. Chef Jones, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Ray.
Well, it's good to have you. We first met each other when we did a radio interview together just several months back, and the story that you have is just an amazing story, and so I think it's something that all of our viewers are going to enjoy hearing about. And then I had to get you here in the studio so we could try out some of the wonderful food that you were telling me about there on the radio interview. I know that night when I was doing the interview and I was asking you about some of the special treats that you make in the bakery, my mouth was just watering by the time we finished the interview. So glad to have you and your treats here in the studio with us today.
Okay, great. I was happy to bring it. I can't wait for you to try some of these items.
Well, it's going to be a good show today. Now, in just a minute, we're going to talk a little bit about the food. We're going to talk about the background and how Chef Jones became involved in this particular culinary profession. But before we do that, we want to give the viewers the information on exactly where they can find you, because we're fortunate enough to have you here in the Atlanta area, right where we're located. And Chef Jones, her bakery is actually located on Auburn Avenue, right in downtown Atlanta. Very easy to find, very easy to get to. It's the Sweet Auburn Bread Company, and the address, we're going to put it on screen, but it's 234 Auburn Avenue. You can't forget that, 234 Auburn Avenue. You got a great address there.
I know, I love it. Thank you.
And so you're located right there on Auburn Avenue. Give us some of the landmarks so we know exactly where you're at there.
Well, we're right smack downtown Atlanta. We're a couple of blocks down from the King Center, which is one of the biggest tourist attractions in Atlanta. We're right in walking distance of Georgia State University, even the Grady Hospital. There's Big Bethel Church right on the next block from it, which is another historic street. Just right smack down. Just get on Auburn Avenue, and you just need to walk down Auburn Avenue.
Well, it's definitely, for those people that have never actually been there, it's a wonderful experience just to walk down Auburn Avenue and see all the different little shops up and down Auburn Avenue. And I know for a fact we have people that are watching this show that are students at Georgia State, because
yes,
we hear from them from time to time. So folks, if you're a student at Georgia State or you have to be downtown for any reason, you might as well make it a pleasant experience after dealing with all the traffic to get there, and stop by the Sweet Auburn Bread Company there on Auburn Avenue. Now, we're going to save the book for a little bit later in the show, but Chef Jones is also the author of a book entitled Sweet Auburn Desserts. You can see it here on the table in front of us. Chef Jones, it is a wonderful story. It's not just recipes, but it really is about our culture. It's about who we are, and I'm a Southern boy through and through, and so I especially love your story. So let's talk about your story a little bit.
Well, it's the story. It's an homage. It's representing my Southern heritage, African American recipes, traditions, things that are really special in families that you pass down, and these are really treasured recipes in this book that I don't want them to die out, you know. And the bakery is about baking memories. On the door it says we're baking memories, and I have customers coming there almost every day, and they talk about how they haven't had something since a particular loved one prepared it for them. Unfortunately, so many times that loved one is deceased.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of us are so busy enjoying the end product that we're not paying attention to the preparation and what they did to prepare these items. And then, you know, our older people, they weren't writing things down.
Right.
They go into the
kitchen, all up here,
exactly,
and they just did it.
Exactly. So it's important to put it down on paper to pass it on. We don't want these things to die. So I feel that, and from my response, I mean, it has been well received. People are very happy to see just a lot of recipes in here, a lot of familiar ones, a lot of them that have almost been forgotten. you know.
Right.
On the front of the book, we talk about labor, it's like stack cakes. But, we have pound cakes and all those things in there. So it's really about just traditions. We don't want to lose them. We don't want to forget those things.
And food really is so much a part of our lives. We don't even stop to think about it. But food is part of our culture.
Yes.
And if you go anywhere else around the world, one of the things you want to do to try out their culture is to try out their food. Well, it's the same way here, isn't it?
Yeah, and not only that, everyone has a story about whatever their favorite item or any particular item. There's always a story that sticks with it. So it's a lot of history involved. It's a lot of conversation involved. A lot of times back in the older days, and I remember growing up with my mom, like they would get bushels of stuff, or they farm, they bring things in. It was a big social time to peel, to hull peas and
Right.
shuck corn. I mean, you're doing these things, but you're working and you're conversating the whole time. So it's just a lot to it. It's just not about food you eat. They want to know. I mean, actually, who prepared it is a historical part of the recipe.
It really is. It really is.
Where these items were served, because you just don't serve everything all the time. Some things, I know in our family reunions, there's certain things we expect to have certain people bring,
That's right.
You
And
look
if it
forward to
wasn't-
it.
Yeah, if it wasn't there, you were disappointed.
Exactly, you were. The same thing at Christmas. You know what your parents or your special friends or family, what they were going to have there. And again, like I said, you're looking forward to those items. And if it's not there, you're disappointed.
And those memories that you were talking about,
Yes.
I can think back now to as a little boy, our extended family used to get together a lot more than it seems like we do nowadays.
Yeah.
And the memories that are associated with all the different foods that each one of my aunts and my grandmother used to prepare, it's just having the food now brings back those memories, and they're wonderful memories. And like you're saying, if we don't start writing some of these things down in each of our families, it'll be a lost part of our heritage.
And I particularly have always enjoyed books in the past. I mean, I collect a lot of old books, but I've always enjoyed the ones that had stories, behind them. It's just really interesting. And so I want to make sure that I gave more history and more information about the recipes. And like I said, people really enjoy them. They love the story. They're asking for more stories, matter of fact.
I can believe that. Now, before we go to break here, we've got about a minute and a half
Okay.
left here. Tell us what we have in front of us. I already know what it is.
Well-
I've seen it since I was a boy. Tell us what we have here.
Well, that is an old-fashioned sweet potato custard pie. People call them tater custards, sweet potato pie, And I don't need to put a sign. Like I say, it's easily recognizable.
Absolutely.
And-
Anybody who's grown up in the South knows what a sweet potato pie looks like. Now,
Exactly.
I have a few cooks in my family that don't like sweet potato pie.
I don't understand it.
They must be adopted. I don't know. But sweet potato pie is definitely one of the
Yes.
main traditional Southern desserts.
It's a southern, but sweet potatoes are a southern staple. We use them just desserts, anything. It's nothing you can't do with them, really.
Absolutely. Well, when we come back in just a minute, I want us to talk about your experience, because you grew up here in Georgia. You're a Georgia girl.
Yes, I am.
And it's obvious you're a Southern girl through and through.
Yes.
But you had an experience when you made the decision to go to culinary school
Yes.
in New York City.
Yes.
So when we come back in just a minute, folks, we're going to talk to a Southern girl that went off to culinary school to become a major chef in New York City. Don't go anywhere. You'll want to hear this story.